Hello, and welcome to this episode of Hampton Roads Business Live. My guest today is Keith Roberts from Wallace Edwards Sons. How you doing, Keith?
I'm doing great, Rory.
That's
Thanks
good.
very much for talking to me today.
Yeah, that's great. We've known each other for quite a while, and I know that you have this. You're working with for the past several years. You've been with this company. Can you tell us a little bit about them? I know they're not new.
No, by no means. Wallace Edwards Sons, we're a third-generation owned and operated company located out in Surry, Virginia, kind of out in the middle of nowhere out there in the country. It's a great commute. It certainly beats driving down to the beach every day. And we specialize in traditional dry-cured, hickory-smoked country hams, bacon, and sausage.
Okay, and can you tell us a little bit about the history of the company? Because I found that really, you were talking before the interview, I found that really interesting.
Yeah, the story really is. It's one of my favorites to tell folks out there. Out in Surry, traditionally people have been farming for really ever. It's really always been a very large agricultural county. So pigs and peanuts were always two of the primary crops grown. And, back in for a long time, everybody always just focused on when raising the hogs, you would always cure meat. It was just kind of how the farm ran. And the history where we got started, it was actually back in 1925. Sam Wallace Edwards Sr. and his father-in-law wanted to do something a little different. They wanted to get out of pigs and peanuts, so they started a ferry service that runs between the historical Jamestown Settlement and Scotland, Surry County across the James. Mm-hmm. And they realized that while tourism was picking up for colonial Williamsburg, traffic was still a little slow. They needed to make a little extra money. So Sam Sr. decided to start selling some country ham sandwiches on the boat.
You just couldn't get away from the ham.
Couldn't get away from it. And the beauty is that people fell in love with it. It really is. It's such a unique product and such a traditional product to the heritage of Virginia that a lot of the ferry boat riders said, where can we get this ham? So he said, well, I need a year. Because at that time, in the traditional method of curing hams, you have to put them down on salt in the wintertime. They sit on salt for a few months. You put them over hickory smoked. You let them age over the course of the summer to develop the flavor. So it was about October of 1926 when Wallace Edwards Hams was originally founded as a company. Mm-hmm. And we're still going strong today.
Well, that's great. Now you do ham, sausage, bacon?
As well as bacon, yeah. Initially we started out pretty much just focusing on the country ham line and developing, actually the namesake was our wigwam ham, because the smokehouses, which are still standing out in Surry, had kind of a wigwam shape to them with a flap door. And those were traditionally aged between 9 and 12 months. Mm-hmm. Over the years, we developed a few new products, a younger ham for springtime, the summer ham, which ages about 6 months, and of course always the trademark wigwam. And I guess it was about the mid-30s is when they started curing bellies and doing a traditional dry-cured hickory smoked bacon. And as the product line developed in the late 30s is when we started doing a traditional country sage sausage. So if you've ever heard of smoked Surry sausage, that is actually Edwards' product coming out of Surry County.
So from our conversations, different hams are unique in how they're prepared or how they're done. And can you tell us what's unique about y'all's product? What goes into it? What makes it so different?
I think one of the neatest things about it is our recipes and methods can actually be tracked all the way back to Jamestown. And the really neat thing is we're still doing it the exact same way. Now we have moved some of the processes indoors to keep the USDA happy out there. But at this point, every single country ham is still hand rubbed with a dry salt cure. From there, it's allowed to rest in our winter room, so we're still mimicking the seasons, which play a very key role in the overall fermentation and flavor process, flavor building process. From the winter room, they'll move into the spring room, which allows us to balance and equalize the cure so our hams aren't overly salty. A lot of folks will hear country ham and get a little intimidated and say, well, it's dry, salty, and tough. And there are some country hams out there that are indeed dry, salty, and tough. We actually slow that process down, the entire process, so our focus is more developing the flavor of the ham itself. So after the spring room, they'll go over a low temperature hickory smoke for a solid week. Then we move them into the summer room, where they go through what we call the summer sweat, and that's really where a lot of the flavor begins to develop. And then we'll finish them off in the fall room, milder temperature, lower humidity, and really just focus on fine-tuning that flavor profile that we're looking for depending on the ham itself.
So that's quite a process. I mean, it's a long process to bring a product to market.
No
That
question
takes a
about
lot
it.
of time and care and
A lot of
thought
patience.
and planning and yeah, I mean, it's not like we need 50 more hams next week. You've got to have thought about that a long time ago.
The crystal ball comes into play every fall. Sam and I will discuss and sit down and figure out where we were this year and how many hams we need to put down on cure for the following year. Currently, we're putting down about 50,000 country hams, the traditional country hams of various ages, for finished product over the course of the year. And then for our Suriano ham, which is, that's where we use a certified humane Berkshire breed specific hog, where that one we actually let age a full 18 months. So that one even takes a little bit more planning than our regular country hams. But our hams in general take us anywhere from a minimum of about 4 months all the way up to almost 2 years to create.
Now, can you mentioned dry curing and aging. Can you kind of tell us what goes into that process?
Two really important keys, and for the most part, I think a lot of people tend to forget that this is the ham that this country grew up on. Sam and I basically refer to it as the Great American Country Ham. And from dry curing, the simplest way to describe it is a grape going to a raisin. We're slowly reducing the moisture of that ham and really intensifying the flavor at the same time. And when you get into the aging process with country hams, it really becomes very much like a cheese. The longer you age it, the more intense the flavor becomes. And when you start getting into the different types of hogs that we use, that opens up a whole new window where it almost becomes like a varietal wine. For our Edwards label, we're using a traditional good old-fashioned pink pig. We know what we're going to get every single time coming off the hog from size and shape and lean to fat ratio. Works very well, and it allows us in our world to produce a very consistent product. When we get into our Suriano or our Surry Farms line where we're using the certified humane hogs, especially the Berkshire breed, it's a more intense, it's a richer meat, it's a higher acidic meat. It also has wonderful marbling. So by the time you go through the cure and smoke process and throw the additional age on it, it actually finishes out more like a prosciutto from Italy or a really good quality Serrano ham coming out of Spain.
Mm-hmm.
That one we've actually won multiple awards with across the country. We just took the Good Food Awards out on the West Coast for the 3rd year in a row in their charcuterie division. Just having a lot of fun with that particular product.
So who are your customers, the ones that you're actually servicing directly?
Within the company itself, although we're small, we do try and reach out to as many people as we can and really kind of educate them. While sales is in my title, I often refer to myself as chief educator, just trying to bring back what this ham really means to the country and what it can really do for the culinary world out there. So we have 3 different avenues. For the home consumer, folks can go out to our website, our retail website. You can access that through...
Oh, you have a retail website? I didn't realize that. Okay.
Retail website. You can access it right now through edwardsvaham.com. Virginia Traditions is also out there as one of our websites where you can source the retail for gift giving or for your own home use. Right. We also have 2 small retail shops ourselves, one in Surry right out in front of the plant, also one over in Williamsburg on Richmond Road. And in my world as wholesale sales manager, I deal direct with restaurateurs, hotels, caterers across the country. I will gladly ship one ham anywhere in the continental U.S. But I've also partnered up with some of the larger food service distributors in the country, so we have a lot of chefs and restaurants that can take advantage there, as well as some retail markets. In our local area here in Tidewater, our friends over at Taste Unlimited have been long-term partners, so you can find us in all of their stores. Fresh Markets carry some of our smoked sausage right now. They bring in some of our country hams during the holiday season. A little further up the state, you can find us in Wegmans. Across the country, you can find us in Dean and DeLuca's, Balducci's, and in the Richmond market, all 17 Martin stores do a great job with our product, and we see a really big push with them during the holiday season.
And of course, you also, do, as you mentioned, you'll ship it anywhere, but you do New York and very upscale places too.
Yes.
And
yeah, we have a number of, I've really developed some great partnerships with some specialty distributors up in the New York market, South Carolina, Atlanta, California, Chicago, really the hubs of the culinary world where some of the top chefs are working out there. Some of my favorites, no question, David Chang at Momofuku up in New York. He does a great job with our product. Our friend Sean Brock down in South Carolina with his restaurant Husk has always done a wonderful job. Not only in that restaurant, he's actually getting ready to open a second location in Tennessee. And we actually just shipped 4 hoof-on Suriano hams out to him. He'll receive those today, and their grand opening is tonight. So you'll be able to enjoy thin sliced Suriano ham right from the bartenders out there.
Now I know that we've talked a lot about ham, but I know that you do sausage as well, right?
Yes, yes we do.
And the sausage is a bit unique in...
It is, and a couple different ways. We do a couple different varieties of sausage. I think the really unique thing about it is the starting ingredient. No question about it. We actually start with 72% lean premium primal cut trimmings. It's what I like to refer to as a shoulder to ham sausage as opposed to a nose to tail sausage. So we really are using a great quality product to start with. Where a lot of other sausages will start with a 48% lean, and then they'll incorporate breaders or fillers or binders to try and hold it together. We have never gotten into that, nor will we ever. We stick true to our recipes, so it's really very simple, very clean. Salt, pepper, sugar, red pepper, and fresh sage, and that's it. So from a fresh sausage, we do a traditional breakfast link, we do a 4-inch, 2-ounce link, we do a 2-ounce patty, and then we also do our smoked sausages. And really even from the outset with our fresh sausage, when we grind, we always do let our grind sit for a couple of days and let the flavors build before we go to stuff. And then for our smoked sausages, we'll actually take the fresh links that we've prepared, we'll air hang those on racks in the spring room to again develop a little bit more flavor before they go over hickory smoke for about 24 to 36 hours.
No, it's it's kind of amazing that there's such a long process in all of these things. I had I mean, I knew there was curing involved, but I really had not thought about all the work that goes into it. And as you vary each of those stages, whether it's the sausage or the ham or whatever, it can change the flavor.
No question about it.
Makes a big difference.
No question about it. And from time and temperature, and really in our world, and you'll find this true with both wineries and beer crafters, really anybody who's doing any aging or fermentation of any process where you get into what we call the terroir. And it has to do with the environment, your overall surroundings, the flora, the fauna, the temperature, the humidity, all will have an overall determining factor on the outcome of the flavor of that product. That's why a Virginia ham will taste different than a North Carolina ham, than a Kentucky ham, a Tennessee ham, because everybody has their own unique twist on what's going on, even to what's the smokehouse itself, the flavors. It's kind of like working with a seasoned cast iron skillet,
right?
Where every little aspect can actually change, even from year to year. We've had a great chilly, moist spring so far this year. I know a lot of us in Hampton Roads hasn't necessarily liked it because it's cut into some summertime outdoor activities, but from a ham curing perspective, it's perfect for us.
It was great. So you're happy.
Very much so. Yeah, the hams are looking really good so far this year.
All right, so we talked about ham, we've talked about sausage. I know that you also do bacon.
Yes, we do.
And can the consumer purchase these things on your online store, bacon and sausage too?
They can get all 3 of them on our website, also at our retail stores. And again, depending on the retailer that you happen to be going in, whether it's Fresh Market or Taste Unlimited or the Martin stores, or also Bennett's Creek Farm Market out in Suffolk and Games Farmers Market over in Hampton both do a great job with their product. And so you can source it out there. I wish they would all carry everything that we produce, but they have to stay true to their customer base and what works for them, and I certainly respect that.
Well, you sound like an encyclopedia of ham. I'll tell you, well, a load of information.
I think it's very easy when you have something so unique with such a great story to tell, and also the flavor quality behind it.
It is a unique story. Yeah, it is a unique story. Now I know when we were emailing back and forth before this interview and everything, you have a unique tagline, and I just thought that was great. I don't know if that's a company tagline, but I know it's yours. So.
It is certainly one of mine, and yes, at the end of every email and any interview that I've ever done, I always wrap it up with "Life is short, wrap it with bacon." I'm a firm believer that bacon makes everything better, and really I think ours certainly takes it to the next level. Just like the hams, all of the fresh bellies that do come in are again hand rubbed with a dry salt cure. And sugar, it's about a 50-50 blend. They're allowed to rest on the cure for 7 to 10 days. We air hang them in the spring room to balance out for 2 to 3 days before we go over hickory smoke for about 24 to 36 hours. So it is a true traditional bacon. We're actually going out the first week of June to an event with some friends of ours at Zingerman's in Ann Arbor, Michigan. Ari does something every year that's called Camp Bacon. And 90 full-grown adults pay really good money to go out and eat nothing but bacon for 4 days. It's absolutely wonderful experience, and Sam and I will be going out there again this year, and we do a whole clinic on how to cure at home and really just, again, share the story. We always love sharing the story about what we're about out there at Edwards.
Well, that's great. It sounds like you're having a good time, and you certainly sound like you enjoy what you're doing, and it sounds like a good company to work for, and certainly a good product. So if, well actually, before I end, is there anything that we haven't talked about that you'd like to mention?
You know, I think that's kind of it in a nutshell. I would
Okay.
always certainly, you know, if you're looking for some of the best ham, bacon, and sausage you'll ever eat, find us. Whether it's through our website or retailers, or go out and ask some of your local chefs. You can find us in a lot of restaurants here in Hampton Roads that are using our product.
Well, I don't think I could top that as as a closing statement. So I encourage you to check it out. The website and contact information is at the bottom of the page and at the end of this video. So I thank you again for coming in. I wish you a lot of success.
Thank you very
All
much,
right.
Rory. Appreciate the time.
Okay, thank you.